GM servers, welcome back to another tutorial. And in this tutorial, we're going to further move to the next section of understanding the latest release of our OpenServ skills. In the initial basic tutorial, we went through what the OpenServ skills are, how different skills work together, and how you can set things up on OpenClaw, and how you can install these skills, and then build some basic workflows with the marketplace agents, add an X4 to monetization paywall, etc. Now let's move to the next part of understanding how you can not only build workflows for use cases with the marketplace agents, but also build custom agents as part of your use case and orchestrate them all together along with other marketplace agents and the triggers, etc. So the prerequisites is please watch the basic tutorial before you move to this tutorial so that you understand and set things up on your OpenClaw in the right way. And once that's done, you can proceed to the custom OpenServ agent section and then follow along in this tutorial. All right. So let's first understand what are the two different patterns of building custom agents on OpenServ. So there are two kinds of agents that you can build using our agent SDK. Both of them will require to be up and running. Sometimes when you face issues with, the agent is not responding, etc., make sure the agent is up and running wherever you have created it. If it's on OpenClaw, it's probably going to be running on your VPS or your local machine and exposed. All right. So in terms of the two kinds of agents that you can build with the agent SDK, the first one is the basic runless version, which is the most primitive way to build a custom agent, which is very simplistic in terms of it's simply a custom version with a custom system prompt, which has extra context-specific instructions along with the base LLM model that it's working with. So it's basically a custom system prompt primitive of an agent that responds based on the specific context you've given to it. And you can customize that based on your use case and add it as a part of your workflow. So it's a very basic LLM kind of agent that has a custom system prompt. And this is just the easiest way in which you can have a custom LLM processing as part of your workflow or use case. And then we've got the runnable agent, which basically the main distinction being that it has a run function as part of its agent definition, which is not part of the runless agent. And what this does is that it opens up possibilities to integrate external SDKs. So in the case of runnable agents, you can integrate any kinds of function calls, external SDKs, do all kinds of API calls, etc. And also it has the functionalities of runnable also. So it's of runless also. So it's basically the combination of the runless agent along with custom SDKs and API calls, external API and SDK calls. So based on your use case, the basic mental model here in terms of when to use which of these, if it's a basic primitive use case where you just want LLM along with some extra context that's baked in initially with the system prompt, then go ahead with the runless agent. But if it's something that requires further customization with external API calls and SDKs, etc., then go ahead with the runnable agent paradigm. All right. Now let's further move to the prompt section, some examples, and understand how this works. All right. In terms of, these are some of the basic things that we have already covered in the previous tutorial, but in terms of when you're running an agent, it automatically tunnels it, and all of these instructions are part of the prompt that we're that we have out here, and it'll be using the agent SDK and also a client for building the workflows. So let's go ahead, and this is just an example master template that can be customized based on a use case. So let's go ahead and try out one of these examples. Let's copy this. So this is an example where we have given a system prompt of it being a premium copywriter kind of thing, and you can further customize the system prompt based on your learnings or based on your specific kind of fine-tuning you want to do. But yeah, let's just go through this example. Let's go ahead to OpenClaw, drop this prompt, assuming that you've gone through the previous tutorial and you've set up the OpenServ agents folder and the authentication, etc. This should go through by itself. All right, let me skip this part as it loads. All right, it went through the skills and looks like there are quite a bit of logs out here, and it made the agent, got it up and running, and looks like it went through well. And then this is the kind of response it received in terms of the specific request it made. And yeah, here we go. This is the response that we received based on the customization we had done in the prompt. And we can also see this reflect over here. Yeah, there's a new workflow that was made, and then there was, as we can see here, a webhook trigger to trigger it. And then this was a completely custom agent that was just made completely by OpenClaw. And this was the output based on the customization, and this can be customized however you want to. There's complete freedom for as the agent developer to customize this. Cool. Now that was a basic example, and the idea is you can add this as in between or as part of your complex use cases, where you just want an LLM with a system prompt in between to do some kind of processing or some kind of decision making based on the custom instructions you've given, so that you don't have to keep prompting it or changing the instructions over and over. All right, cool. Now that we went through that example, so here's another example where you can also kind of basically combine a custom agent with an already existing agent, where if there's a custom agent that kind of comes up with a concept based on your system prompt for generating an image, and then it feeds it to the Nano Banana Pro agent. It forwards it, and it should be able to come up with the image generated for that specific prompt that was made by the creative director agent that he just made. And this is a combination of a custom agent and a marketplace agent, and you can combine all of these in different ways based on your creativity and your basic specific use case that you're focusing on. All right, cool. Moving forward, let's understand how the runnable agents work, or again through an example. Let's move to the next section. Cool. So in terms of how the runnable agent works, it's not as simple as just a system prompt, but there's also a run function where you define the specific external API or SDK call that you're trying to make, and then based on it, you can customize it for your specific use case. And this is probably the one that can be customized to whatever extent, and you can integrate whatever that is available on the web as a Node.js package into your agent. And yeah, this is the runnable pattern of a custom external agent is the one that gives you complete freedom to customize based on your specific use case. So yeah, let's quickly look at some examples here. So in this example, we would be using the GitHub API to fetch some things and then come up with a report on it. And then this is an interesting examples for basically being able to, use the open API Hyperliquid provides for, that doesn't require any kind of authentication as such, which you can use for fetching the live chart data and then come up with like a report in this example. Or basically you can use it as part of your workflow where, let's say you want to fetch some chart data for your trading use case and you want to combine it with a Hyperliquid trader or any of your trading agent. You can use this example where you fetch using a free API endpoint the latest chart data for, let's say, Bitcoin or any of the coins you want that's trading on Hyperliquid, and then you can use that data to come up with some kind of TA or technical analysis, and then you can forward it to your agent to come up with a strategy, or if you've already mentioned a strategy, to come up with a decision and carry out your trade. So yeah, this is a really cool example that you can make use of. And in the same way as we discussed in the previous runless pattern, you can combine any of these custom agents that you've built with a marketplace agent, and then use them for your specific use case in whatever creative way you want to. All right, so let's just drop this prompt to OpenClaw and see how that goes. Cool. All right, looks like it went through a bunch of logs over here in terms of the kind of prompt and then the logic. So let's move forward. A bunch of internal logs. Let's try and understand. Okay, cool. Yeah, so it built the DeFi briefer workflow along with the custom agent, and then here's a response after triggering it. Yeah, it looks good. Let's also look at it from the UI. All right, let's refresh it. Cool. Here it is. And let's look at the one that's done. All right. So yeah, there we go. So this is the custom agent that it just made, which calls the Hyperliquid API that we asked it to call, and then it comes up with a report based on after fetching the data, and comes up with the report based on the instructions we have given. So yeah, that's pretty much how you can use any external API or SDK. An important caveat here is that if the API or external SDK you're using requires an API key, make sure you mention that within the prompt that here's the API key as part of the build request, or as part of the agent guardrails. But yeah, as part of the build request, you can just mention that this is the external API you would be using. This is the API key for it, and OpenClaw is going to know how to just put it in the env file, or just securely import it as part of your custom agent workflow and build along with it. But if it's also an external SDK that's not well documented, just make sure you provide the relevant instructions as to how you can how OpenClaw can use the SDK or the API, or just copy paste the important documentation parts, so that it knows how it can build with that external API or SDK. So yeah, this was an example how you can build the runnable agent by using an external API. There's also a GitHub example, and there's also an example for with Hacker News for fetching some details and come up with a summary using a marketplace agent. But yeah, so in the same way, you can, keeping this concept in mind, you can customize in terms of the prompt. You can customize it in whatever way you want to. Just make sure you're clear about your specific requirements and what it should use in a clear and simple language. And just make sure you also mention, just to try out to create a webhook and fire it so you can test it out once you've created it. And if you want to add marketplace agents, just make sure you mention to chain them both together and go through the multi-agent workflow examples like I've referenced here, and then bring them together, use this specific marketplace agent that does this, and then combine it with that in this way, and then build it in that way. That's something you want to be clear about in terms of how you want to combine them, mentioning that first you want that to fetch it, and then you hand it off to the next agent. Just make sure you keep in mind that these are some of the examples here. The example prompts here are some of the best practices you can use. You can always copy these prompts and put it onto ChatGPT or even OpenClaw and ask it to come up with the best prompts to possibly list agents in the marketplace. Call this function to figure out all the agents that are part of the marketplace, and then ask it to come up with the best prompt to be able to build a specific thing, and ask it, or, if you're using ChatGPT, you can ask it to come up with the best way in which you can combine different things, agents together, come up with the best prompt to hand it over to OpenClaw to build that whole workflow for your use case. So, yep. In terms of the blueprint, it's all present in the docs here. These examples have been tested, but if you still face some issues, do reach out to us on the Telegram, dev support channel or Discord. And we would be more than happy to help you out and help debug. And yep, we are super excited to see the cool use cases and custom agents that you all build using our new OpenServ skills and OpenClaw. The possibilities are endless. Happy hacking. Thank you.